Get out your clay because it's time to sculpt. So I had this idea to create some wall decorations, and these are the sketches I have. I want to do like this big strawberry and like two little sculptures of my cat Ming, one with her like sleeping and then one with her eyes open. So I got my trusty dusty mat here that I usually use to sculpt, and I created some stencils for the shapes and sizes that I'm going to be using. I'm going to get out this big hunk of clay and just try to separate some big pieces and start flattening them out to create the strawberry. While I do that, because it did take a while to get the right shape, because I wanted it to be about 5 inches long, just kind of explaining why I've been away for a few weeks. I really did need that break though. It is coming to the end of the semester for me, so the projects and assignments start to really pile up towards like the last 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, that's what I've been trying to focus and study and work on. So yeah. Now that we have the desired shape that I want, I'm just gonna put my stencil on the piece of clay and just kind of roll it into it so I get like the flattened shape. And I got these sponges that I decided to use to just like wet the clay, and I didn't really like all the streaks that the sponge was leaving, so I used my finger to smooth it down. And then I kind of cut a line. I didn't really cut through, so I had to use a knife, but I just kind of like drew the line all around it, and then I went with an X-Acto blade to actually cut the whole thing. And with this extra clay that I'm rolling out, I'm going to set that aside for the strawberries stem and leaves. And I had a lot of trouble getting this off the mat because I made the mistake of not having anything underneath it. So I tried to peel it off as best as I could and fix it. And I decided to cut some parchment paper to put that underneath, and I continued to do that for the next 2 sculptures. And I really recommend that if you're working on any kind of surface to have something that you could, some kind of wax paper that you can peel your sculpture off of, well, the clay off of. Then I did a lot of smoothing of the top and the edges just to get it perfect and the shape I wanted it to be. And with the extra clay, I decided to work on getting the strawberry and stem using my stencil and just flattening this bit of clay out. Then I also wanted to get the shapes out for the cat faces too. So I just repeated the process that I did for the strawberry, except that I used parchment underneath the clay this time. Then I did the same with the strawberry and stem. It's pretty much all the same process for each thing. I just wanted to get the shapes all out before I cut them out. Now that all the shapes are cut out, I just peeled the leaves off and started to place it onto the actual strawberry and blend the leaves into the strawberry. For blending with clay, I usually just use a bit of water, my fingers, and sometimes a clay tool. And I looked at the back of the strawberry and I noticed that there was a bit of a gap, and I wanted this wall decoration to be flat, so I had to make another set of the leaves to just kind of fill in those edges there. You can kind of see it's like a little, it's not the same thickness, so I wanted to make it the same. After I got that blended out and smooth on the back, I had to blend both sets of leaves together and to the strawberry. Before I stopped sculpting for this day, I had to go back to the cats and smooth their edges as well, and then I had to let these guys dry for a day. Now that my sculptures are all nice and dry, it's time to paint them, and I'm going to start with the strawberry, painting it regular strawberry colors with lots of reds and greens for the leaves. I could have painted this as like a perfect ripe and juicy dark red strawberry, but I wanted to make it a little bit more authentic, that not every strawberry is perfect, especially this shape of a strawberry. Like, no strawberry looks the same, so I wanted to kind of make it look like this strawberry wasn't completely ready. You know how right under the leaves it's a little bit pink or sometimes green, so I wanted to add a bit of that just because I thought it was fun, and I tried to blend out that pink with a pinky red to the actual red color. I then added some darker red colors in this big area here, and because I wanted to have some really cool highlights to make it look kind of realistic, like it was in the light. And if you're gonna have highlights, you need shadows first, so I added that dark area there and then kind of went around with this like really light pink to try to make it look like there's light on one side of it. And I just kind of did like this weird like scaly shape and just kept adding more lighter highlights on top of that. I also went back with a darker red color to kind of do more of the scaly shape to show that like the rest of the strawberry is also in the shadows. It's not just the rest of it's just red and bland, Then I went all around adding little yellow seeds to in the center of every little circle, and I also added a bit more of highlight in the other side with like a lighter reddy color, and then I painted the leaves nice and green. I also went over that with a lighter green and an even lighter green, and it just looked really awesome. And like I said, I am making a more authentic and realistic kind of looking strawberry, so since this isn't like perfectly ripe yet, the like really like the bottom of it is like a little yellow and like a little green. And I used my finger and a bit of water to kind of create like a wash over that little tiny area, and I had to go back over with the little seeds that I missed. And I didn't want to leave the back of it blank because I didn't want to like rip any of the clay off when I hung this up, because I said I used command strips to hang these up. So I painted the back of it. Then I went over the whole painting after it dried, of course, with some Sculpey gloss just to make it look nice and shiny. I think I definitely achieved that. I mean, this is the shiniest strawberry I have ever seen. While I set that aside, I went on to start to paint the little cats. And my cat is like a calico. She has like all these different colors, but she is primarily white. So I did the base of the faces completely white. Then I sketched out kind of what my original sketch looked like, and just kind of looking back at the reference pictures that I picked from pictures of her, and adding like all those spots where some of the colors of like her face are, because she's got all these different kinds of colors. If you remember from my sketchbook flip through that I did, I drew a lot of pictures of my cat Ming, and I mentioned that like I've never drew animals before, I never drew cats before, so it was really like a lot of progress of like I drew her a bunch of times, so it got better as I kept doing it. And since I never really drew cats before, I didn't really know how to color them, because I did those drawings in pencil, black and white. I never added color, so this was a bit difficult trying to match the colors of her, because there's like kind of like a gray brown, but then there's also like a light brown, kind of like orangey tan, and then there's just like a bit of like a lighter brown, and then there's a lot of white and some dark brown. It's so much. So this took maybe about an hour just to paint these two little cats' faces. I was trying way too hard to get these perfect. They took me so long to do, so please enjoy watching the painting process of this, because it took so long and I spent so much time on it, and I overall do really like the results. You may have noticed while I was watching me paint these that I do a lot of back and forth on each one, and I think it's kind of pretty explanatory. I'm just trying to match it as best as I can because I am painting the same cat twice. So if it looks a bit off, I mean, there's kind of no way I could get them exactly right. But I really tried my best to match what I was doing on one face to the next face because it is the same cat. So I didn't want it to look too noticeably different. If they are, I mean, that's on me. Like literally, it's my fault. But yeah. Finally getting towards the end, I'm just fixing the edges, just making it all white. I could have painted the like same color all around, but I feel like that would be too difficult, so I just painted it all white, and then I went over it, of course, after the paint dried again with some Sculpting gloss, and painted the edges with the gloss as well, or glossed the edges as well. And here's how they looked all nice and dry, and I'm going to start preparing the command strips on the back of each of them and pick the spots on my wall. So I moved my little collection of fans a little bit to the side so I can fit this big strawberry right in the middle of it, and with command strips I just held it down for about 30 seconds so I made sure it was nice and on that wall, because if it ever fell, if I didn't have it on right, I'd be devastated. And I also wanted to put one of the Ming faces right in between this little shelf I have here and on the other side of my wall next to my headphones. And here's just some nice close-up shots of them. I'm so happy how they came out. I love the strawberry especially. I'm so glad that I made it so big and juicy. These cats, I had no idea they were going to come out this well, and I'm just so glad that they worked out. I can't wait to just look at these every single day. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.